Welcome back to our dried out crispy garden. We are in what's known as rapid drought conditions, and what that means is we have had very, very high heats, very, very little moisture for an extended period of time. We're coming up on the end of this month, and we've had one rain that I can remember. It lasted maybe 30 minutes to an hour. The power was out longer than the rain fell. So it's time for us to pull our potatoes. Originally, I was going to have a comparison between what we had in the ground and what we had in perfect growing conditions. We have here a bucket with compost in it that has the perfect mixture of everything we need. And over here, we have our garden beds where we just planted potatoes. And I was going to show you how wonderful the potatoes were going to do in this new garden soil that we made over the past 2 years out of horse manure, wood chips, and a little bit of compost. We cleared this land out of woods like you see back there, and we assumed since it was paradise petals. We assumed since it was forest floor that it would be good soil, and it was not. So this was going to be a showing off session, if you will, of how wonderful our soil is. And it's wonderful, but if you don't have rain and you have high heat for this amount of time, it kind of kills all your plans. So we're gonna see, we have how many beds, Mrs. Flannel?
4 potato beds.
4 potato beds that we're going to pull right now in front of your very eyes, and then we will pull that bucket out and see if it's any different or if that rapid drought has ruined the potatoes everywhere for us. Well, good news, bad news. The good news is this is probably the largest potato harvest we've ever had. We're still pulling a few here and there. We've got 4 wonderful piles from 4 beds, but we have a problem. Apparently, we were sharing with critters. Almost every big potato has been chewed on. We probably left them in a little bit too long. But considering the drought conditions, we were hoping to let them harden off a little bit, reach full size, reach maturity, and that has not happened. What happened is they hardened off early, and then animals ate them! But that's okay. Biggest harvest so far. Always learning. All right, Mrs. Flannel, do you want to pull what's inside the container to see if it matches what we've done?
See if Mr. Mouse got in there.
Yeah, that might be the one benefit.
All right, so actually I want to save this compost, so maybe we dump it just straight into this bed. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Nice.
If this was any better. They don't look that big. There's a lot of them.
And how many plants were in there?
I think you put 3 pieces, maybe 4. So considering that many, I think our beds did better. That's it.
That's it.
Our beds did better.
So as you can see, that's good compost.
Yep.
We put it in a bucket with drain holes, all by itself, 3 plants. And that's it.
Well, some people have a lot of success with that method, but clearly we do better in beds.
We'd hoped in the beginning that this would be a comparison video, and we weren't really sure what the comparison was going to look like with this drought and everything else going on. But I mean, the proof's in the potatoes. You can see we grew substantially more potatoes in the garden beds. Yeah, after repairing our soil with horse manure, wood chips, and just a little bit of compost.
Yeah. We just had to share it with a friend.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to pile up the 2 piles of potatoes to see if we fed more critters than ourselves. All right, so good news, bad news. The pile on your left is the pile that was eaten by some sort of rodent. Seems to be about 25% of our little piles we're not on. Unfortunately, instead of eating all the little ones, they seem to enjoy knobbing on the big ones. They just went to town. But it's not as bad as we initially thought when we first started pulling them out of the ground, which is good. Small pile back there. Small pile back there. All that's good. That big pile's good. That big pile's good. So this is the bed they ate the most in, our first bed for whatever reason. The other beds seem to do better. And that's strange. But this could be depressing, but it's not depressing. Why? Because Esther's here. Hello, Esther. She makes everything better. But because we have successfully grown more potatoes than we've ever grown before, we learned that growing them in a container doesn't really work for us compared to growing them in the ground. Probably next year we'll harvest them maybe a week early. This is the end of June. We knew we should have done it last week, but in reality, I was busy and I wanted to film it and show it to you, so we waited, and that might have cost us
A few potatoes.
some of our crop, but that's okay. We're not Irish. We do have food in the freezer. It's not a big deal. It's exciting to focus on the fact that we got more than we've ever gotten. It's easy to get discouraged when you do this type of thing. It's been blistering hot. Our grass is crunchy. I'm concerned for our local farmers here. We're in Virginia in the Mid-Atlantic region, and I'm really concerned for our friends who have to do this for a living. We don't do this for a living. YouTube is not our living. Farming and gardening, not our living. I have a day job. So we always like to see a good return, but sometimes you just take the lesson with it. So a little earlier next year, hopefully we don't get rapid drought situation developing, and I'm done with containers.
And add a few more barn cats.
Oh yeah, we're getting kittens, but that'll be in another video. That should help get rid of some of the mice. I wish we'd have caught it. We just missed it.
Oh my goodness.
But while Mrs. Flannel was digging, something went scurrying across and she grabbed at it and it just disappeared. And I really wanted to show you guys whatever it was. I'm guessing mice, but
It was a little gray body. I'm thinking it was a mouse. Could have been a mole though, I guess.
we'll get Tom and Jerry going out here in the garden here pretty soon. All right, well, thanks for joining us here today at Flannel Farms. I appreciate it. My name is Brian. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel where we will show you the good, the bad, the ugly, and what actually works for us and what doesn't. Keep growing as you grow. See you next time. Bye.